the American President Woodrow Wilson is calling the First World War the war to end all wars, Lenin has his own idea of the war to end all wars. As Irish historian William Mulligan points out, Lenin's idea of the war to end all wars is revolutionary war. The Bolsheviks are calling for the poor and the working classes of all nations to rise up and overthrow their rulers. Germany is only a little less vulnerable to that sort of message than Russia is. This is why Ludendorff is playing with fire, or in this case, plague. He stands a really good chance of getting burned by this very same weapon that he, in 1917, decides to help use against Russia. The actual means to get Lenin from Switzerland back to Russia is provided by the Germans in April 1917. So we're going backwards a little bit in the story. The Germans provide a single sealed train car for Lenin and his cohorts. Historians have disagreed over who had demanded that it be sealed. Some say the Germans wanted this train car sealed so that when Lenin and his cohorts are going through Germany, they don't intellectually infect the Germans on the way through. Others say it was Lenin and the Bolsheviks who demanded it. The last thing that they wanted was to have people in Russia find out that they were accepting help from the country Russia was fighting, oh yeah, and of people who happened to be capitalists too. Nonetheless, whomever it was who made the decision, as the train car goes through Germany, there's a famous incident where Lenin or one of his cohorts looks out the window and happens to notice that there are no mature men anywhere to be seen. It's children and women and old people. Germany's mature male population is either dead, wounded, or at the fronts. Lenin and his party then have to board a ferry and go by boat for a little bit, and then get back on another train. The train will then arrive in Petrograd, formerly St. Petersburg, the Russian capital, just before midnight on April 16, 1917. There will be a crowd waiting to welcome him because, like many other dangerous radicals, Lenin is coming home from exile. The Tsar for decades had been exiling all these very formidable intellectual contagions, and those are the ones he wasn't executing, by the way. Lenin's brother had been executed by the Tsar. Now all these people were coming back to Russia at roughly the same time, creating a seditious soup, politically speaking, in Russia during this time period. And believe me, Russia was ready for it. They're in this precarious situation after the Tsar falls, where you have sort of a moderate government known as the provisional government, sharing power with these groups of soldiers and peasants and workers who have gotten together and elected leaders and who are sort of trying to lead from the bottom, and they're sharing power in a not very comfortable sort of an arrangement with the provisional government. It is absolutely a setup for problems, and yet you kind of have to feel a little bit for them. I mean, think about what these people are trying to do. They are trying to run a country after toppling the regime that had been in power for centuries. This is a tough thing to do in the best of times, but this isn't the best of times. This is the equivalent of a bus passenger trying to get a hold of the wheel when the bus is already careening off a cliff. And then you get a guy like Lenin arriving, and he gets off the platform at a little before midnight and tells this enthusiast